I'll take the first question today. Josh, for you, what do you think are the three main mistakes people make when looking to purchase their first commercial to residential project?
Um, Good question. I think, in my opinion, one of the big ones is area. I think people tend to just find the property and stumble across it
Yeah,
because it's maybe priced well, it's
yeah,
advertised well, rather than focus on the area that they want to develop in
yeah,
and finding the right property in that area. Number two, I would say not negotiating enough on the purchase price.
yeah,
I think if you're able to put an offer doc together well, if you're able to justify why, and again, come present your offer in a
yeah,
strong way that you might be cash or
yeah,
you're financially well backed. I think that can actually get you a really good deal, which you're already up on your ROI if you've bought well. So that would be my second one. And third, not doing enough due diligence pre-build. So that's things like any structural
yeah,
changes you might need to make, um, any existing roof issues, damp, windows, understanding, are you in a conservation area? Are you dictated by heritage
yeah,
potentially? Those kind of things that really creep into the build. Asbestos, another really
yeah,
big one. Things that you might not have identified to start with. Then by the time you've committed to the project and got on site with a builder, all of a sudden these things present themselves and your contingency is just rapidly eaten through. So those would be my three.
No, those all make sense, and I think it ties back for me into almost a mistake we've made on each site that we've done. The first one being in the wrong locations. Now we haven't done this personally, but fortunately we able to see how this affected a developer previously, where based up north but had sites in Dorking and places like that down south, which then becomes really hard to manage in terms of construction. Is I think is the main challenge with that, and there's so many other hidden costs that you don't realize. I know one of the reasons why we develop within an hour and a half of Doncaster and Sheffield is because if there's a problem on site, we can get to site, sort it out, and we can get back, and that's not taking up
Definitely.
a whole day. Whereas when if you've got to go down to Brighton, that's potentially a 6 hour drive depending on traffic,
Mhm.
a couple of hours on site, hotel overnight, and the drive back. So I think that's a really good one. I think learning how to present your offers right is a good one, and you'll actually be surprised with our offers over the years how many people just send their offer in on an email, even no proof of funds. We've actually won a couple of our sites, to be fair, off the back of them being complimented by estate agents on our offers, how it's presented in a booklet with proof of funds, with everything that we're looking to do with the property. So I think that's a real good bit of knowledge there. And then, it's the same with the build, but essentially with commercial to residential, as you know, there's always issues when you come back to brick. But there's a lot of things that you can mitigate throughout the way, which I think is something that you in particular are really good at.
Yeah, and we've definitely learned along the way. It's a process of trial and error and
Yeah,
knowing what to spot
yeah,
and making those mistakes, feeling the
yeah,
cost of those
yeah,
mistakes, and then not making them
yeah,
again. But yeah, no, I completely agree, and I think the offer doc is definitely the
yeah,
way to go. I think it sets you apart from just the general day-to-day
yeah,
people who are sticking in an email with a
yeah,
price.
yeah,
We break it down with sold comparisons. We justify our offer in a paragraph or two. We explain why and how we've got to this justification. Like you said,
yeah,
proof of funds is included, a little bit who we are, how we're financing it, or how is it being funded. And it just builds a picture rather than a figure on the screen, which
yeah,
is what a lot of
yeah.
people do.